want to shift gears just a little bit. Came across a fascinating column this morning about how the church became acclimatized to the idea of same-sex marriage. Because one of the striking things is how little pushback there has been from the church. How many people in the church, how many people who go to church, how many people who read the Bible seem to be fine with the idea of same-sex marriage despite the fact that it is blatantly and flatly contrary to plain scriptural teaching. Now, this is a piece by Louis Markos, or Marcos. I'm not sure how you say his last name. I've never read anything by him before. It's on a website that I had not gone to before called the imaginativeconservative.org. But this is an outstanding piece, and I kind of want to walk with you through a little bit of his thinking. And his argument, very simply put, is that gender-neutral translations of the Bible, which have been all the rage since about 1997, 1995, that gender-neutral translations of the Bible paved the way for the mainstreaming of same-sex marriage. Because what did gender-neutral translations of the Bible do? These were translations that tried to minimize the number of times where you would use the masculine pronoun he or him, try to substitute a plural pronoun like they or them, in order to, and in effect, obliterate the differences between male and female. Now, God clearly has designed male and female. He created us from the beginning as male and female. And the whole idea is that there are profound differences between these two sexes. They're not interchangeable. They're not the same. They have different capacities. They're designed differently. They're different in every single DNA, cell of DNA in their bodies, different in every conceivable way. And they're designed to play complementary roles in society, including in marriage. There are things that a father brings to a marriage, to a family, to his children that a mother cannot possibly bring. There are things that a mother brings because she is a female by God's design. There are things that she can bring to a marriage, that she can bring to a family, that she can bring to a home, that she can bring to her children that a father, because he is a male, cannot possibly provide. They're not interchangeable units. They're designed to be complementary, different and fully equal in worth and value and significance, but each making a different contribution. Now, these gender-neutral translations that became the rage in the late 90s have tried to obliterate all of those distinctions by actually changing the Word of God. That's what's particularly offensive about these gender-neutral translations, is they actually mess around with the words of God. You know, in essence, what they're saying is to God, they're saying to Christ, they're saying to the apostles, look, you guys are antiquated. You are benighted. You're out of step. You're out of touch. We have to update your language because you're old school. You're Victorian. We've grown past where you were at. We appreciate what you did. We like what you wrote. We find value there. But, man, you got to get into the 21st century. You got to get away from all of these sexist pronouns. Christ, we appreciate you. We like what you've done. But, man, you use sexist pronouns all over the place. You talk about he when you really ought to be using inclusive language like they. And so we're going to have to update your language because you misspoke. Paul, we're going to have to do the same for you. And that is kind of the point that Louis Markos makes in this. He's talking about the third cause for why many Bible-believing Christians are embracing or not opposing the legalization of gay marriage. We're going to have to finish this on the other side of the break. But he says this: the ground has been carefully laid and watered by a subtle but pervasive change in our cultural perceptions of men and women. Rather than identify, nurture, and celebrate masculinity and femininity as distinct but complementary, God-given realities, our culture has been coaxed to force or to view boys and girls, men and women, husbands and wives, as ultimately interchangeable. And so the idea, and there are a lot, even translators of the Bible have bought into this. God may have provided us with our respective genitalia, but it is by the creative power of socialization that we are masculine or feminine. In other words, masculinity and femininity is not God's idea. It's not part of the creative order. It is a social construct that has been foisted on people and gender neutral by society, and gender neutral translations fall into that trap, allowing their understanding of the Word of God to be shaped by culture rather than to be shaped by the Word of God. Let's be right back after these brief messages. Stay with us. Focal Point AFR Talk.